Have you ever been in a situation where it seemed like the odds were against you, like you had no control over it? That's pretty much how all the kids who were growing up under the poverty line feel academically. Now, as a kid, I grew up in a neighborhood that was below the poverty line, so I know exactly how it can affect a child. Kids in poverty are more at risk of not succeeding because of the disadvantages that they have. In this speech, I will address some of the reasons that kids in poverty are at a disadvantage and give some solutions to help change the problem. First, let's look at some of the issues. According to www.dosomething.org, children living in poverty have a higher number of absenteeism or leave school altogether because they are more likely to have to work or care for family members. I also read on pbs.org that most children who are poor deal with near constant hunger, watching parents struggle, and moving from motel to motel. Now, imagine if you were a teen and you've seen your family struggle your whole life. Most teenagers are going to want to get a job to help support their family. And once they do that, they start working more and more, and school does not become a priority. So eventually, they drop out of school, or once they graduate, they don't think about going to college. And that becomes a problem. Next, students lack positive role models who are living in poverty. I also read on www.huffingtonpost.com that low-income households, adults, are less likely to hold high school diplomas or degrees of higher education. There was a study conducted in 2002 by the Los Angeles County Department of Health Service. It said that students who identified with role models personally showed a higher level of self-esteem and stronger academics. As a child, you're more likely to pattern your actions and behavior behind who you grew up with, who you saw the most, positive or negative. So it's a good chance you're gonna pick up those habits, whether it's not focusing, using foul language, having anger problems, and also seeing that positive role model, seeing a doctor, lawyer in your family, that really helps. So if you see a gangbanger, a drug dealer, that's what you're going to be used to. That's what you're going to feel comfortable around. As a kid, I grew up in a neighborhood that had a lot of drug dealers and gangbangers. And I can honestly say that up until a few years ago, I felt more comfortable around drug dealers and gangbangers than professional adults. So that definitely is an issue, whether people think it is or not. Finally, how do we help this problem? What can we do? I believe one thing that we can do, we can put more programs in neighborhoods with poverty to help kids and teens prepare for some of the problems that may occur. Real sex education classes, just make them aware of what could happen. How to avoid gang violence, how to avoid the use of drugs and alcohol, real deal, hands-on programs. And those programs to have positive role models also. But also, I believe that these kids will eventually go home. They will spend their time with their family, and that is still probably who they're going to pattern their behavior behind. So I also believe that there should be programs in place to help not only the kids, but the parents. Because regardless, these kids are going home to their parents, and they're going to more tn likely act and follow the same footsteps of their parents. So we should have programs to help parents with things like how to raise their child, how to conduct better job interviews, even help them get into school. I believe if you have the parents, that will also help the kids as well. Last, I believe we should, speak out, raise more awareness about this problem. It's easy to look at it if you're not in the situation and be like, oh, they make their own choice. At the end of the day, you got to make a choice. But our thought patterns are based off our environment and how we grew up. So in conclusion, poverty, children growing up in poverty is a serious issue. We must all look at this issue and try to help it. Thank you.